Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so now we go to the main sutta. What is the name of the sutta? Kukkuravatika Sutta. The meaning: the ascetic who behaved like a dog. Ascetic means a person, like a human, a man who wanted to experience liberation, end of suffering, like us. And unfortunately, there wasn't the Buddha to guide him in the beginning. So there was another religious teacher, and he guided this man. The path for the liberation is living like a dog. Unfortunately, he accepted that, and he was following that. And there was another friend with him following a different practice. And these practices are called Silabbata Paramasa, meaning wrong rituals and observances. That is what is happening here. But they were fortunate enough to meet the Buddha, obey the Buddha's instructions, place confidence in the enlightenment of the Buddha, and see what happens to their life. Okay? Who's going to read first? We can discuss as we go along.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante, I will read.
Okay, Barry, you can start reading.
The ascetic who behaved like a dog. So I have heard. At one time the Buddha was staying in the land of Kolyans, where they have a town named Halidavasana. Then Puna Kolyaputa, who had taken a vow to behave like a cow, and Saniya, a naked ascetic who had taken a vow to behave like a dog, went to see the Buddha. Puna bowed to the Buddha and sat down to one side, while Saniya exchanged greetings and polite conversation with him before sitting down to one side, curled up like a dog. Puna said to the Buddha, "Sir, this naked dog ascetic Saniya does a hard thing. He eats food placed on the ground. For a long time he has undertaken that observance to behave like a dog. Where will he be reborn in his next life?" "Enough, Puna, let it be. Don't ask me that." For a second time and a third time, Puna said to the Buddha, "Sir, This naked dog ascetic Saniya does a hard thing. He eats food placed on the ground. For a long time he has undertaken that observance to behave like a dog. Where will he be reborn in his next life? Clearly, Puna, I'm not getting through to you when I say, enough, Puna, let it be. Don't ask me that. Nevertheless, I will answer you. Take someone who develops the dog observance fully and uninterruptedly. They develop a dog's ethic, a dog's mentality, and a dog's behavior fully and uninterruptedly. When their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in the company of dogs. But if they have such a view, by this precept or observance or mortification or spiritual life, may I become one of the gods. This is their wrong view. An individual with wrong view is reborn in one of two places, I say, hell or the animal realm. So if the dog observance succeeds, it leads to rebirth in the company of dogs. But if it fails, it leads to hell. When he said this, Sanaya cried and burst out in tears. The Buddha said to Puna, this is what I didn't get through to you when I said, enough, Puna, let it be. Don't ask me that. Sir, I'm not crying because of what the Buddha said, but sir, for a long time, I have undertaken this observance to behave like a dog. Sir, this Puna has taken a vow to behave like a cow. For a long time, he has undertaken that observance to behave like a cow. Where will he be reborn in his next life?
Sadhu. We rejoice, Barry, in your reading. Okay. Did you understand what was happening? Very clear. Yeah, he was the Punna. So who was following the verb of the dog? Punna, right?
No. Cow.
Yeah,
Punna is
Punna
the
is
cow.
asking about his
Punna
friend,
like a cow.
Senia, right?
Senia.
Senia was
Senia
following.
is a
Senia is the dog.
Yeah.
Punna is a
Punna,
cow.
Punna is like he is behaving like a cow because he was asking about his friend's destiny, right? Senia.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Senia was following the vow of a dog. And why was he doing that? Because he also wanted to be liberated, or at least he wanted to be reborn in among gods, because his teacher might have taught him that if you follow this observance, you will. This is a very hard thing, difficult thing to do. Not many people can do this. This is a very rare path, so you will be reborn among gods. So now he is having a wrong view. And also, on the other hand, he is practicing a wrong observance. So Buddha explains the wrong observance, which is following the behavior of a dog, thoughts of a dog, mentality of a dog, all these, remember how he sat down near the Buddha? See? Before sitting down to one side, he curled up like a dog. So now he's imitating the behavior of a dog. Also, his mind works with that. It's generating a karma. And what is the danger of that? Just the behavior decides the rebirth, then he would be destined to reborn among dogs. See how human life changes? This life he is a human being, next life he will be a dog, he will be an animal. That's the nature of this cycle of rebirth. And the other thing we can understand, like he didn't do like as we describe, he didn't do very evil things. He didn't do killing, he didn't do stealing, he didn't do sexual misconduct. Like he didn't do all these bad things, but his wrong observance or wrong view was so powerful. It was powerful enough to give him a painful rebirth in an animal realm. So we have to understand the danger of these views. So the observance itself gives him a rebirth in the animal world, but if he has an additional wrong view that by practicing this path I'll be reborn among gods, that's his wrong view. And those who hold wrong view have one of the two destinies, either rebirth either in hell or animal world. And he started crying. He said, I'm not crying because Buddha revealed the truth. I'm crying because I was cheated for a long time. And I have been practicing this for a long time. I have sacrificed so many things, and it was sad that when people don't understand the true path for liberation, they follow so many different ways, and they waste their effort, they waste their time, precious time, they waste their precious lives and end up in painful places. That is why Buddha is known as the most compassionate, the blessed one, the most compassionate one. Buddha reveals the right path for liberation. It's a very rare thing in the world. And now Stania is asking about his friend Punna. Who is going to read that? You can read from here.
I can read that, Bhante.
Okay, Linda.
Sir, this Punna has taken a vow to behave like a cow. For a long time, he has undertaken that observance to behave like a cow. Where will he be reborn in his next life? Enough, Senia. Let it be. Don't ask me that.
Okay, let me pause here for a second. So another important thing to understand, like India is a very kind of a different country, and there are so many people even today seeking for liberation, Vimutti, Nirvana or Nibbana. There's a very kind of a special spiritual thirsty there. And even in the Buddha's time, even at present, I heard that in India there are sadhus, the ascetics, apparently more than the population of Sri Lanka. So that means young people from families, they leave families, they go to Himalayan mountain, they go to faraway places, and there is no connection with their family whatsoever, and they just have the robe covering their body, and they go on arms round and they sit, meditate, or practice their asceticism, or torturing the body, self-mortification. They don't have the Noble Eightfold Path, but they practice all these things, and uh, in a very secluded area, very young people. So that's the same with in the time of the Buddha. So the most important question here, that among these truth seekers, they are following a path, a certain path, but they had this question in their mind. That's why they put the same question to the Buddha. What is that question? I am following this path, or he is following this path. Where will he be reborn in his next life? That question was commonly asked in a community of truth seekers, spiritual practitioners. What is that question? They They are curious about their rebirth. Now we are living in a material world, with a widely spread materialism. Hardly people talk about rebirth. Hardly somebody is concerned about the future destination, the place that person is going to be reborn after death. Isn't that the truth? There is no such a conversation in the society. Okay, I am living like this, I am following this path. What will be my future rebirth? That question is very rare. But among the truth seekers community, among the spiritual practitioners community, they always had this question. That's why when they met the Buddha for the first time, their most important question they asked, where will my friend be reborn in his next life? Where will I be reborn in my next life? That's a very important thing to understand while we try to understand this sutta. And also we can see that that question belongs to a kind of community of wise people. That means wise people, they not only think about this life, they think about next life, they think about future lives, they think about future rebirth. That's not a stupid question, that's a wise, smart question. We need to understand that. So when Senia asked about his friend, Linda can continue.
Bante has to scroll down a little.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. No, for the second time, no, just there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, first. Enough, Senia. Let it be. Don't ask me that. For a second time and a third time, Senia said to the Buddha, Sir, this Punna has taken a vow to behave like a cow. For a long time, he has undertaken that observance to behave like a cow. Where will he be reborn in his next life? Clearly, Senia, I'm not getting through to you when I say, enough, Senia, let it be. Don't ask me that. Nevertheless, I will answer you. Take someone who develops the cow observance fully and uninterruptedly. They develop a cow's ethics, a cow's mentality, and a cow's behavior fully and uninterruptedly. When their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in the company of cows. But if they have such a view, by this precept or observance or mortification or spiritual life, may I become one of the gods. This is their wrong view. An individual with wrong view is reborn in one of two places, I say, hell or animal realm. So if the cow observance succeeds, it leads to the rebirth in the company of cows. But if it fails, it leads to hell. When he said this, Punna cried and burst out in tears.
So we rejoice in Linda's reading. So here now, another thing we can understand, very important thing, that your rebirth, the place you are going to be reborn, is not decided by an external person, a created god, or a group of gods, or such an external person. Who decides your rebirth? Is your own actions, your behavior, your thinking pattern, right? Your views. These are the things that are going to decide your rebirth, your place of rebirth, your pleasure and happiness in after death. That's the karma. Single word for that is the karma. Karma is as Buddha explains, Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami. The thought or volition is the karma, I say. Chetayitva kammang karoti kayena vachaya manasaya. Having thought, somebody creates karma by body, speech, and mind. That is the engine of the life. Karma is the engine. And so that is very clear that our actions decide our future rebirth, future happiness, future pain. Yeah, so that's the result of the cow's behavior. And also, I wanted to say something else as well. So now you can see how these mentality, behavior, and these things are very kind of strong, strong things in our life. That is why we have to be careful with our defilements like anger, revenge, greediness. Like for example, if we practice the qualities of a hell being or a ghostly being or an animal, for example, the highlighting defilements in those planes of misery are anger, hatred, greediness. You see, in the animal world, the greediness is everywhere. And lust, taking revenge, selfishness. Those are the highlighting qualities in those planes of misery. So if a human being follows and imitates those qualities as a human being, now you can see why that person is going to end up in such a place after death. It's the same thing, because this person was practicing or imitating the mentality of a cow, a behavior of a cow, and the way of living of a cow. And that was the result why he was going to end up in cow's world. That's why Buddha teaches us we should not imitate the qualities of the beings who live in planes of misery. So what are those qualities of those beings in planes of misery? As I said, all those negative qualities. Now we are creating our own destiny, right? We are creating our rebirth. These are very powerful teachings about the truth of life. We are responsible for our happiness and pain. Okay, so what happened when Buddha revealed his rebirth? Another Kalyana Mitta to continue reading.
Buddha Bante, I can try.
Bodhi. Okay, Bodhi.
When he said this, Puna cried and burst out in tears. The Buddha said to Senya, "This is what I didn't get through to you when I said, 'Enough, Senya, let it be. Don't ask me that.' Sir, I'm not crying because of what the Buddha said, but sir, for a long time, I've undertaken this observance to behave like a cow. I'm quite confident that the Buddha is capable of teaching me so that I can give up this cow observance and the naked ascetic Senya can give up that dog observance. Well done, Puna. Listen and pay close attention. I will speak." Yes, sir.
Sadhu. Sadhu. Rejoice in your reading. So that was the beginning part of the sutta. The next come the, so they were very humble, right? They said that we believe and we are quite confident that the Buddha is capable of teaching us the true path for liberation, so that I will be able to abandon my observance, wrong observance, and my friend also will abandon wrong observance. They were very humble and they were very fortunate, actually. Even though they were following wrong things in the beginning of their life, they got to meet the Buddha. And can you imagine the fortunate people who saw an fully enlightened Buddha with their eyes? They had that fortune as well. Until they met the enlightened one, they were following the wrong path, but now they are open to the true path. And in the next, hopefully the deep Dhamma class, you will see the amazing teachings of the Buddha given to those two friends. So you had to join the next Dhamma class as well, right? To learn the most beautiful part of the Buddha. That's about the true path and what happens after they learn the Dhamma from the Buddha. Fortunate people. So now you can understand, one may follow the wrong path in the beginning, but he still has the opportunity to change the life, change the path, and he start cultivating wholesome karma, good karma that can weaken the bad karma which has been accumulated in the beginning. And they did that. They increased the wholesome part of their life, and which enabled them to weaken the bad karma of the wrong observance. So they were about to be reborn in the animal world or hell, but Buddha helped them with limitless compassion. We pay homage to the enlightenment and the limitless compassion of the Gautama Supreme Buddha. Okay, so you're welcome to ask any Dhamma questions.
Bante.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Harry.
Okay, Bante.
Okay,
Just
first of all, are you happy that how those friends are going to get advice from the Buddha and change their path? Are you happy about it?
yes, Bante, for sure. Yeah.
Only happy, not very happy?
Very, absolutely very happy. So I just wanna share. I think Bante, you mentioned a while ago that people are not talking about. I'm not concerned about next life anymore. So people just always think about present, how to enrich themselves materially, how to have a good marriage, love, this and that. And so my question is, many people honestly just maybe it's definitely it's a wrong view. So they consulted fortune tellers, psychic, go to horoscope reading, and sometimes if they want to contact past relatives, they resort to medium. So all of this, I know it's a wrong view, but it's very commonly practiced right now. So what would be the effect if person continue to observe this kind of fortune teller reading and psychic readings?
So I don't want to take one wrong view and just talk about it, but in general, I would encourage you to check all the views you are holding against the teachings about the right view taught by the Buddha, and to understand about right view and wrong view. It's very essential for somebody to learn the discourses about the dependent origination, cause and effect mechanism, discourses about the good karma and bad karma. And you will realize what is more important in life. And when you understand that our actions, bodily, verbal, and mental actions, are more important than anything else, then all those wrong observances, wrong views will naturally be abandoned. from your life. And that happens in a very kind of what do you call it, in a very fundamental way, or in a very strong way, when the practitioner comes to the first stage of enlightenment. When the practitioner understands the Four Noble Truths as they really are, understands the cause and effect mechanism, paticca dependent origination, as it really is, when the Sakkaya Ditthi, the identity view, is abandoned, when the confidence is very well rooted in the enlightenment of the Buddha, when all these things come together, is a natural thing that all the wrong views, wrong beliefs, wrong observances will be naturally abandoned.
I see. Investigate.
So, yeah, so the way to do that is keep practicing the Dhamma, keep investigating the teachings. Then I don't need to explain one by one, this is wrong view, that is wrong view, this is a wrong belief, this is a wrong, that is a wrong belief. I don't need to explain one by one, and person will himself understand.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Bante.
mm-hmm.
Bante, I read Anguttara Nikaya book of 9 recently. There is actually two suttas. One, Supreme Buddha said that there are 9 types of individuals. And then Supreme Buddha said the 8 types of the Aryan, and the other one is Putujjana. And then the next sutta, Supreme Buddha preached about the 8 types plus Gotrabu. I think it's called Gotrabu, Bante.
Yeah, Gotrabu.
Yes, can Bante please explain what is the difference? Like, what is the difference between this Putujjana and Gotrabu? Because
yeah, so basically what Linda is asking about, that we hear about Attapurisa Puggala, and that is repeatedly in the suttas. Buddha explained about there are 8 individuals who are on the Noble Eightfold Path, who have attained the paths, who are practicing the paths of enlightenment, or have attained the stages of enlightenment, starting with the disciple who is on the path to extreme entry, the first stage of enlightenment. And the second individual is the disciple who has already attained the first stage of enlightenment. How about the third disciple?
third one is the
So we are learning first. We are learning about the 8 individuals. Remember, who is the first one?
On the path, the person who is on the path to stream and
the person who is on the path to extreme entry. Yes. Second individual.
It's the stream and
the person who has attained the first stage of enlightenment is stream entrant. Third individual.
The person who is on the path to one's returner.
On the path to one's returning, the second stage of enlightenment.
Yes.
And the
one is
fourth individual.
An individual who has already achieved
the second stage of enlightenment once returning. And the fifth individual.
The individual who is on the path to non-returning.
The third stage of enlightenment, who is in the path.
Yes.
And the sixth individual
is the person who has already achieved that
non-returning, the third stage of enlightenment.
Yes.
Seven
is the person who is on the path to liberation, to become
to arahantship, to liberation, to enlightenment. He's on the path. And the 8th individual
is the arahant.
Is the arahant, the enlightened person, the liberated one. Okay. So those are the 8 individuals. So the Gotrabhu is apart from these 8 individuals. Gotrabhu is the Pali word. So the meaning here is that Buddha used this word when Buddha explained about the results of basically the giving, dana. Buddha explained if somebody offers dana, food, to the community of monks, the Sangha, the results are immeasurable. So those community of monks consists of those 8 individuals. What Buddha teaches, when this pure Dhamma is disappearing, the Kalyana Mittas are dying, time will come in the future that pure Dhamma is no longer available. Monks with pure precepts don't exist. But there will be some men, they will represent the community of monks just by wearing a piece of robe around their neck. They will represent the community of monks, but they don't know anything about monks' precepts. They will live like ordinary lay people, doing ordinary jobs and all these things, but they represent the community of monks. They say that we belong to the community of monks. And Buddha says they are the Gotrabhus. But even in that time period, if a lay person places his confidence in the community of Sangha and thinks that this person represents the community of monks, with that confidence in his heart, with that confidence in his mind, if he offers even a very little thing, a handful of rice, a glass of water, to that person called Gotrabhu, Buddha teaches the results are going to be immeasurable. Because the giver's mind is established in the qualities of the community of the monks. Now you understand the Gotrabhus? They appear in the world when the true teachings are disappearing.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante Muhammad.
And Bante, is that what they're saying that by the time when the Gotrabhus are there, then the future Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, will appear? Is that what they're saying?
That's 2 different things.
Okay.
2 different things. Yeah. Even after disappearing the Gotrabhus, then a long time will pass before the appearance of the next Buddha, Maitreya Buddha. Yeah. Basically, when the Maitreya Buddha appears in the world, there is not even the word of Buddhism, word of wholesome, word of Buddha, word of Noble Eightfold Path. No, nothing. But when the Gotrabhu is in the world, there is some information about the Buddha's dispensation, about the Sangha, at least some understanding about the community of monks among people. But when the Maitreya Buddha appears in the world, it's a completely a new world. There are no remains of a previous Buddha. Nobody knows anything about Noble Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths. It happens after a long, long time in the future. Any other questions?
Bante, Nama Buddhaya. This is
Aina.
Aina.
Mhm.
Yes. Bante, regarding God trouble, Bante mentioned they do not know about Sangha practice the Vinaya. My question, do the God trouble also have Saddha in Buddha, and do they also practice precept?
They don't practice precepts, but they have some kind of respect for the Buddha. That's why they want to represent the community of monks. You can say like that.
Even for 5 precepts, like we lay people usually practice, how the God trouble?
Yeah, we don't have that many information about that. Maybe even that the information I shared with you, maybe they are also in the commentary. I explain those things because my teacher explained it the same way to people. So, but you see this go through even in the, I think in the Dakkhina Vibhanga Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, you can learn about that, but not in details. Just the name is described there. Maybe commentary describes more about it. But
Okay.
basically they are known as unvirtuous people. So unvirtuous. Living like ordinary people. Maybe not even following the 5 precepts.
I've got a question for you about
Okay, Rob.
just the word dukkha in the translation suffering. I'm just wondering if you, when you translate the word, do you translate it into a variety of words, or do you stay with the word suffering, or do you look at it as like a sort of a spectrum?
I prefer to add all the types of words for about suffering. I like to say pain, misery, suffering, whatever,
stress. Would you consider
stress, yeah,
discomfort?
Yeah, discomfort, unsatisfactoriness,
So a whole spectrum is the way you think of it.
yeah, because it's explained in details by the Buddha. Suffering is described.
I think it
Mental
puts up.
suffering, physical suffering,
Mhm.
physical pain, sorrow, lamentation, crying, separation from loved ones, and so on and so forth.
Mhm. Yeah, the focus seems to be on the extreme end, the very hard end of dukkha. I think it makes a lot of people kind of confused when the focus is on just the very extreme end of dukkha.
Whatever you feel as suffering, it's not easy to understand whether some experience is happiness or suffering. So if you can categorize it as suffering, whatever the name you call it, it's suffering, it's pain, it's in the negative side.
Anything you don't want.
Anything you don't want, you are not happy with,
Right.
Basically, that's the most part of in our life, right? Life is filled with little happiness, but with greater pain. That's how wise people describe the life. It's with little happiness, but with greater pain. Is that right? If you don't need to give me an answer right now, but you can investigate.
Yeah, I guess that
You
the cha-
agree?
the challenge is to better manage the pain, better manage the pain, I think. Yeah.
How much, like, if we investigate the reality of life, how much pain we experience mentally, physically. If that's the importance of practicing mindfulness. If we are mindful about our body, we will realize how much pain, how many problems. Like Buddha teaches, if you are mindful about your hunger and thirst, you will realize that they are also disadvantages of a body. Hunger, thirst, going to washrooms, sweating, all these things. But if we don't pay attention, if we are not mindful about the reality, we forget all of those things and we focus on very limited happy area of the body, happy experience, limited experience of the body. But in reality, we are experiencing so much pain, so much trouble, problems of the body. And that part is only revealed with mindfulness and awareness. But that is why it has been included in the Satipatthana, the establishment of the mindfulness. Yeah, the more wisdom you add to your life, you will see the more suffering, more pain in life. And that's a good discovery, because then we will want to practice this path and achieve an end of suffering. If the suffering is not highlighted, we will think, oh, this is a very happy journey, I need to continue, I need to get reborn again and again. No need to escape from this suffering. No
Could
need
you-
to escape from the cycle of rebirth.
Could you
That's
say
why the suffering must be highlighted.
could you say we will see more pain, but maybe feel less pain?
It's because of the lack of mindfulness. We
Sorry?
won't see, we won't experience if we are not mindful.
Right.
Buddha teaches, if you are mindful and if you use your wisdom to see the reality of your own life and others' lives,
Yeah.
one thing you will see.
And I guess if you see it
The
clearly,
pain, the suffering arised from aging, sickness, and death. Like, for example, Prince Siddhartha, he had everything. He was a royal prince. But because of his wisdom, he saw that all the worldly pleasures in his palace provide but a little happiness, little enjoyment. But this aging of a life, sickness of a life, death of a life, pain, this suffering is a major problem that I should find solutions. It's because of his wisdom. So at the age of maybe when he was a teenager, these thoughts came to his mind. At the age of 20, 29, he renounced the world, he renounced the palace as a very young person. And he didn't experience any kind of suffering as we describe. He was very young, he was healthy, he had everything, he had money and everything, he had the love from everybody. But see how wisdom penetrated through the reality. Among all those happy things, like he received everything from the palace. Everybody loved him. So he had loved, he has love of everybody, help of everybody, respect of everybody, money, a beautiful, kind wife, everything, right? And all those happy things. Among those, all the happy things, the pain was highlighted. That led him to seek the path to liberation. That's why today we learn this Dhamma. That's why today we learn about the Buddha. We discuss about the path to liberation. If he was satisfied with those limited temporary happiness, we wouldn't have a Buddha today.
thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, well,
Sarabante, can I ask one more question, please?
Only one, okay.
One more for today. The rest will be for next week. Bante, back to that sutta, the Anguttara Nikaya 9, Supreme Buddha preached that 9 type, Bante, the lowest one is the Puthujjana, and my understanding, the Puthujjana is a person who doesn't understand Dhamma. The next from there will be an individual who is on the path to stream entry. Now, Bante, I'm just wondering, how can we define us? Like we are. So
okay,
I
will give you a good definition. Okay.
Okay, Bante, please.
Write down this. Helpless human beings in the cycle of rebirth, taking a refuge from the teachings of the Buddha. Isn't that a good definition?
Yes, Bante. But which category though, Bante? We are in between, Bante?
No, that's the category.
But that's not in the sutta, Bante. Bante always say
helpless, innocent beings seeking refuge from the teachings of the Buddha. That's the best category.
But that category is not in the sutta, though, Bante. It's either Puthujjana or the Saddhanusari or Dhammanusari. So
okay, so there is a mirror of Dhamma. Mirror of Dhamma means Dhamma Dasa. So find out that from the teachings of the Buddha and go in front of that mirror and you will see who you are. Okay.
Yes, Bante.
Yeah. You go to your own mirror. Different people have different mirrors. Some mirrors are fake. You know that? Some mirrors, there are fake mirrors, and they go to in front of those fake mirrors and they come to us and say, Bante, I feel like I'm a stream entrant now. So then we know that they have standing in front of a fake mirror. And after a few years, we find out that that person breaks precepts and doesn't do any Dhamma practice. He has forgotten the Dhamma, he has forgotten the Buddha, and he has joined all these bad friends. So what happened? He was standing in front of a fake mirror. So we should not, that's why we should not rush to conclude about ourselves, right? The best way is that keep practicing the Dhamma, keep listening to the Dhamma, because whether we categorize ourselves into this or that category, we have to follow this path until the end, until we attain liberation. So there is no point to conclude halfway through and we say, okay, now I am a stream entrant, I'm a once returner, so let me take a break, let me rest. There is no such break. So let's practice all the way up to liberation. And once you attain liberation, of course, you will realize that you are a liberated person. And at that point, you can have a relief breathing. I have completed the path. Until you reach that point, until we reach that point, we should not jump to any conclusions. No. It's better that we have that our goal, we set our goal, the liberation as our ultimate goal.
Bhante, in the whole Sutta Pitaka, there's no other types of individuals that Supreme Buddha has preached. This is the 9 individuals. Am I right, Bhante?
Yeah, all the beings are categorized into those, basically the entire population, generation of beings, not only humans, like all devas, brahmas, animals, humans, all beings have been categorized into those 9 categories.
Thank you, Bhante.
That's the amazing knowledge of the Buddha.
Amazing, extraordinary.
Yeah,